You're listening to Teracota Chronicles, where broken pieces find their way back to wholeness. Recently, I started to feel this pull, almost like an assignment to share what I've come to know as true. Because the only truth I can speak to is my own. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I'm not going to debate. I'm just answering the call to tell my story. And if you stay with me, you'll hear how I was broken, how I survived it all, and how I rebuilt my life beyond everything I was told I couldn't have. My name? Well, I'm going to save that part for later. This isn't a sermon, it's a story, a living journal of how I got here. And maybe somewhere in it, you'll find your way back to yourself too. I had already learned something about love, or at least what I thought love looked like. I didn't grow up with my biological father. I knew of him or who I was told he was, but I didn't know him. And up until I was 5 years old, that didn't even bother me because when you don't have something from the beginning, you don't always know that you're missing it. My world felt normal. It was all I knew. And then at the age of 7, my stepfather came into my life and everything changed. This man, he didn't have to take us on, he didn't have to love us, but he did. And not just in words, in action. When he came, we started to do family things like sit at the dinner table and eat together. He would take us out to dinner. He'd take us to the movies. We'd go out fishing on boats. We would travel. We took road trips often. And for the first time, I saw structure. I saw consistency. I saw what a family could look like, and I loved it. It felt like we were becoming one of those families you see on TV. You know, the ones safe, they're whole, they're always together. And in my mind, this was it. This was what life was supposed to be. But life had other plans. When my mother turned 40, something in her shifted. She decided she didn't want to be married anymore. Not because something was broken, but because she never wanted it to begin with. And she's told me this herself. She's given me permission to tell this story. In her own words, I never wanted to be married. I just wanted to have children. And I can hear her truth in that. A young woman trying to think for herself, but still influenced by the voices around her. She married my stepfather because she was told that her children needed a father. And for a while, it worked. We became a family of 5. I say 5 because it became me, my brother, and soon my baby brother. 3 children, 3 different fathers, but only one of us grew up with his. And then my baby brother was only 5. And just like that, she left. She left the home. She left the marriage. And she left us with a man who had chosen to love us. And I remember thinking, this was the craziest thing I have ever experienced or seen in my life. Because from where I stood, we had everything. She had everything. She had love. This man adored her. He provided for her and us a ready made family, not out of obligation, but from love. He loved her. And even now, as an adult, I know the difference. He put her needs before his own often. He always wanted to make sure she was happy. He'd say, if you want it, go ahead and get it. He wasn't a wealthy man, but he worked hard. And what he built was real. I remember he taught her how to drive, and something in her changed. She became free. No more waiting, no more depending. And then he surprised her with a car, a two-seater. And she would say, oh, it's just me and my passenger. That meant that we were left behind, the kids. So she walked away from all of this and she drove that car away with her. Um, but me, I couldn't understand that. I was well into my teens at this stage, and I'm watching this and I'm going, what? I just couldn't make sense of how someone could leave something that looked and felt so good, to me at least, and it was very healthy for us children. Not too many stepfather stories are as, wonderful as mine. There's not a whole lot of children that can say, and girls at that can say, I had a great stepfather. Her leaving, it felt like destruction. It felt like the breaking of something that didn't need to be broken. But here's the part I didn't understand at that time. That same moment that broke my family was quietly shaping the woman I would become. Because, for a while, everything about your life is tied to what decisions your parents make. So when she left, she moved into the city district. And that move gave me access to a completely different world, a different school, a different environment, a different level of opportunity. And I had a choice: stay where I was at this school that was harming me, or go to the new school district where my mother was moving to. And I chose to go. I even chose to go live with her, not out of love, but out of resistance. Because the truth is, she left us. She left without us. And she said things like, we would have a better life if we stayed at the house. We could keep our rooms and, live there and nothing had to change. But I knew that wasn't the full truth. She just wanted to be childless. And I wasn't about to stay behind and carry something that was never mine to carry. Taking care of my little brothers. And my stepfather was shattered. The man who held everything together was now breaking, and his pain, it showed up in ways I could not ignore. He was drinking more. He was getting sick. He was in and out of hospitals. He just was slowly losing himself. And I couldn't stay. I couldn't watch that. So I left too. And I moved into a life that, if I'm being honest, was worse on the surface, but better in opportunity. And that was my first crossroads, my first real decision point, my first time stepping onto a different timeline, even though I didn't have a language for it yet. Because from that decision, everything that came next started to unfold. The new school, the new people, the new identity I would eventually take on. And what I didn't realize then was that the same disruption I thought was ruining my life was actually redirecting it. And that's the thing about crossroads. They don't always look like opportunity. Sometimes they look like loss. They look like chaos. They look like something breaking apart that you thought you needed, but in reality, they're opening a door to a version of your life you couldn't access any other way. And I didn't know it yet, but that one decision would lead me to everything that I'm talking about next, including the version of me that thought she found God. You've been listening to Teracota Chronicles, and if something in my story resonated with you, if it mirrored your life, your questions, or your own awakening, I hope it reminds you you are not alone. I'm not here to perform or present a polished version of myself. What I'm offering is honesty. And if you choose to stay with me, this story is still unfolding. I'll return with the next part. Be open, be well, and be at peace until we meet again.